Okay.
For YouTube, it doesn't matter. Sit down. So anyway, you are?
I'm Rob Power.
And you're with the California Libertarian Party?
Yes, I'm the chairman of the Libertarian Party of San Francisco, and I'm also the national chair of Outright Libertarians.
So one of the, and the Outright Libertarians is an organization for openly gay libertarian activists.
LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer is a term that is of generational use, but it basically encompasses everything else. Basically, some of our older members, our founders, like to call it people who love differently.
Yeah. There was another term people were throwing around for a while, left out libertarians.
Right.
Is that being used at all or still around?
I've heard it, but we don't use it on our website.
Right. So what the main issue for libertarians now is, especially in California, is Proposition 8, which made gay marriage illegal, and libertarians absolutely oppose this because the government, whether you believe that government should be involved in marriage at all, should treat all people equally.
Exactly. The parallel that I use is we as libertarians oppose government schools. And you know, we prefer that all schools be privatized, but if the Libertarian Party had not been founded in the 70s but had been founded in the 40s, and the issue before us was, do you let black children into the government-funded schools, we wouldn't say, oh, well, we don't believe in government-funded schools, so that's not our issue. We'd say, yes, you're going to let the black children in. And this is kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, we don't believe in government marriage, but if you're going to have it, you can't discriminate.
Right, you cannot, because all people are paid. Gay people pay taxes as well. They should be represented also. The other reason, and the other reason that I always go into, is one of the separation of church and state. When you have gay neighborhoods, you have churches that perform the same function socially, religiously, spiritually in those neighborhoods as churches in any other neighborhood does. And those churches perform marriages like any other church, and by the government not recognizing them, they're saying, your interpretation of religion is right and yours is wrong, and the government should never ever do that, no matter how conservative anyone's interpretation of religion is. You don't want the government to be on your side or say you're right and you're wrong.
And it's even expanded beyond that, where about probably 10 years ago it was exactly what you were describing, which was, you know, the gay neighborhoods had their local metropolitan community church or whatever. Now it's entire denominations are doing same-sex unions, and you know, mainstream, you know, Protestant denominations have said, no, we're not going to discriminate anymore. So the UCC, United Church of Christ, nationwide, they do same-sex unions now. It has nothing to do with gay neighborhoods anymore.
So what about people that are worried that their church is going to lose the non-tax status because they will not perform gay marriages?
And yeah, it's funny that keeps being brought up, because churches can already discriminate. A Catholic church can say, no, we're not going to marry you. We don't believe in divorce, and you have a divorce. So we're not going to give you a second marriage. You're still, in God's eyes, you're still married to your first spouse. So the Catholic Church already discriminates. You know, certain Orthodox Judaism will not marry a non-Jew to a Jew. I mean, churches already discriminate like crazy in terms of marriage. So the whole idea of gays would be the first group that would be allowed to sue the church is crazy. It's scare tactics, basically.
Right. So it's not really founded in any kind of realistic. And and certainly hope that that's not the case. But this kind of thing has not happened in other states where gay marriage is now legal.
Right. Massachusetts has not had any issues with this. It's such a non-issue in Massachusetts. We recently put out a press release with a quote from George Phillies, who's very active there. He had been a presidential candidate and other things. But basically, you know, his message is, all you folks in the other states, you know, who are obsessing over this, and your Libertarian Party is having debates as to whether or not you want to be marriage purists and say just get the government out of it altogether, or the pragmatist incrementalists saying, well, as long as you're going to have it, you got to let the gays into it. You know, he said, just legalize marriage for same-sex couples, and it stops being an issue, because they've had it for 5 years in Massachusetts. They got it in 2004, and it has been 5 years, and the sky didn't fall.
What happened in other states when you're married in another state? What happens in other states where they don't allow gay marriage when they move there?
That has actually happened to me. My then partner, boyfriend, fiance was in grad school in Massachusetts. So we relocated from San Francisco to Cambridge, Massachusetts for 3 years. And while we were there, we actually got married in Cambridge City Hall.
So you're legally married?
So we're legally married in Massachusetts.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. But California does not recognize that, sadly.
Oh, really? So there's just no recognition of it whatsoever? Are there other states that do?
There was recognition for 5 months between the court decision and Prop 8 passing.
What about the people that were married in California legally during that 5 months? Are they being recognized or not?
The Attorney General has said that his interpretation is that those are being recognized. And he has stated very clearly that those people who got married, I think it was 16,000 couples, it was quite a few, that they're going to recognize those no matter what the Supreme Court rules regarding, you know, whether Prop 8 was an inappropriate revision or whatever. So those people are basically safe. I've actually spoken with someone at the ACLU who said we could probably argue for Kai and me because we were recognized for 5 months.
Right.
So, so
you're in like a legal limbo in California. It's like a second-class citizen.
Well, April 15th just recently passed, and we had to file everything separately because we weren't sure what to do.
So what are some good websites out there for people who want to get involved in repealing Prop 8? Do you know of any out there?
Well, definitely go to our website, outrightusa.org.
Okay.
We're going to have links to whatever the current organization is. Basically, there's kind of a transition between the organization that was noonprop8.com, you know, before it passed, and now there's the Marriage Equality organization that is for repealing Prop 8. So there's a little bit of flux there. So I would just say go to outrightusa.org, and if we don't have a link to it, email us and we will link to it, send you the link to it, or most likely we're going to have, once it all kind of settles out who's doing what campaign, we'll have a link to it.
What about the San Francisco Libertarian Party? What is your...
LPSF.org.
LPSF.org. Okay, well thanks a lot for coming out, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.